Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1, is an epic western directed, co-written, and produced, as well as starring Kevin Costner. From a screenplay he co-wrote with John Baird, based on an original story by the pair and Mark Kasdan. The film is an ensemble piece. Families, friends, and foes all attempt to discover what it truly means to be American in a country at war with itself. The film is a fictitious depiction of the Civil War in the 1800s. Costner has been developing the script as early as 1988 and has plans for 4 films, with Chapter 2 releasing in just a few weeks from now. Costner has poured much of his own money into this project. He's clearly very passionate about it. Unfortunately, the only compliment I can give this first chapter is that I admire that ambition greatly. I am happy that a series like this can even get made. I found this film to be an overlong and dull slog. Now, I am not someone who has issues with long, talky films or westerns. When done right, I love them. Costner's 1990 directorial debut and Best Picture winner, Dances with Wolves, is a wonderful film. It is longer than Horizon Chapter 1, but it feels shorter. Dances with Wolves felt masterfully crafted, but Horizon feels rough. This film was at times excruciating. I know that might sound harsh, but the film is 3 hours long, and I was almost immediately bored when the film started. I too was instantly turned off by how cheap it looked, and the film was definitely not cheap. Costner has these great American landscapes on display, and yet he shoots the whole film in the most drab way imaginable. This is big screen television. The coverage is so basic, it does nothing for the senses. But it isn't just TV in its visuals, it's TV in its pacing and in its dialogue. There was nothing for me to cling onto emotionally. The film has a stacked cast, but none of them can save it. They all seem rather one note. It's got Sam Worthington from Avatar and Vecna himself, Jamie Campbell Bower from Stranger Things. Jenna Malone in particular is an actress I really love in films like Donnie Darko, The Neon Demon, and the Hunger Games movies. How do you squander such potential? The attempts at romantic elements are schmaltzy, aided by a truly trite score that plays all the expected beats and has no imagination. Kevin Costner doesn't show up until an hour into the film, and then he's barely in it. There is nothing wrong with him playing a small role contributing to a much larger whole. Game of Thrones is a major ensemble piece with many different storylines that converge, but the film was marketed solely on Costner. The marketing for this film was shocking, which is why it is not doing that well at the box office. The trailers didn't tell you what the film was about, and failed to show any of the action in it. It doesn't have much action, but I'm sure I could cut together a much more exciting trailer right now on the fly. This film is largely set up. Costner is laying the foundation, setting up the characters and putting all the pieces in place. If there is one argument you could use to defend the film, it is exactly that. This film cannot truly be judged until chapters 2 through 4 are released. However, the first chapter is maybe the most important, as you have to grab me and give me a reason to return. Think Dune Part 1. It is clear that Costner plans to have all these characters' storylines meet at some point, but we are so far away from that eventuality that this film can't help but feel like it has no purpose. It feels like slice of life in the Old West. I have no interest in following these characters. They are stereotypical and uninteresting. Costner does attempt to show both sides of the conflict between the indigenous people and the settlers in a fair and unbiased way, I'll give him that, but there is no urgency to any of this conflict. The film doesn't even have an ending. No resolution, no cliffhanger, it ends extremely abruptly, and then shows a trailer for Chapter 2. The trailer for Chapter 2 is an example of how they should have marketed Chapter 1. It looks infinitely more interesting than Chapter 1. However, I was so disappointed by Chapter 1 that I don't believe I'll be checking out Chapter 2, and I cannot recommend the film, which is a real shame because, like I said, I admire Costner's ambition greatly.